Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live.
Oh, hello, everyone. Good morning. Hello. Good evening. Afternoon. It's really evening, guys. How is everyone doing? Thank you for tuning in for tonight. Um, I am broadcasting simultaneously on YouTube, but also on Block Talk Radio. So, if anybody wants to call in and talk about anything that I'm saying, the number to call in to talk is, now I know it, 914-205-5699 to call in. Let's see, it says all. There you go. 914-205-5699 to call in. Press 1 if there's anything that you want to share. All right. Oh, you know what I meant to do? I'll get it if I have to. If anybody calls in, I think I can get. I brought a speaker that makes it easier for callers when they want to call in, but I don't have it in front of me. I'm not going to worry about it right now. Um, Hi everyone. Hi YouTube. Good evening, Priestess Ifashaye. Good evening, Kira. Good evening, Stephen. Thank you for tuning in. And for anyone who's listening on Blog Talk Radio, thank you for listening. So, I wanted to talk about parental abuse. I had another name for it, but I swear, for the life of me, I couldn't think of the proper terminology that I was going to use. And that happens to me a lot, but it's okay. I just want you to know that I had a cousin that called in, and his call, which he didn't realize, of course, because I would never tell him, but it triggered me, right? And yet, the more we talked, the more he kept saying, "You help me, you help me." And I understood what he was saying. What he was saying is that you're giving me the opportunity to speak my truth. And I understood that. And it dawned on me that, oh, I remember what it is. It was supposed to be family secrets. That's what it was. Doggone it. It dawned on me that we carry family secrets. That's unhealthy. To me, family secrets come in a form of parental abuse. To me, it's a way of brainwashing you. It's a way that adults have of burying history, making a child feel like you didn't, the parent didn't do what the child remembers, making a child feel like they are mandated to always be a 10-year-old at 35. Most adults don't even realize that they carry PTSD. I spoke with a young lady yesterday that had clear signs of PTSD. I mean, clear. And when I do my psychic readings, because I do so much on the phone, I can measure what's going on deep inside, right? I can measure your mental depreciation, right? Where a psychic reading is no longer helping you see the future and navigate the future safely. It becomes a very grounded reading where you, the psychic, are mandated to pull someone's energy in, calm them, so that they could hear you. There are times when I'm doing readings and people can't hear me because they're having a malversion of PTSD. But if they're having a malversion of PTSD, a psychic reading is not going to solve it, because PTSD, although you're having a current experience that's heightening the PTSD, it is childhood trauma that couldn't get exercised. And so you exercise it where you have the freedom as an adult, but you still don't exercise it where it belongs, which is probably with your parents. So we walk around with an amazing amount of PTSD, eating disorders, substance abuse, depression. I don't believe in depression. I believe that we are trained to depress our personalities, right? Because in some households, if you shine too much, you're taken away from the adult who believes they need to be shining. So, how dare you show up and shine, be prettier than me, have a better body than me, have the greatest personality ever. Like, I didn't I didn't have children for you to turn out better than me. In the same breath, you better get an education, you better go to school, you better do this. You better not come home with anything less than an A. So it's really so conflicting. But don't you dare shine in my house. And so when you have these conflicting components, right? Then we have sleeping disorders. Then we start to eat more because you're questioning. You don't say it out loud, but you're definitely questioning, am I loved? But you don't say it out loud because you don't even know that's what you're feeling, whether you don't have the right words to express what the hell's going on in your house. Excuse me, but you come out with a depressed personality, which then carries into your adulthood, which then leads to depression because it's the only thing that was ever allowed to be exercised, right? And the only time you get to show yourselves is when you go out with the girls and you start drinking. Oh, now we have a drinking problem. Because that's the only time you can whoop it up and have the freedom to be you. But you sure can't bring that home to mama, right? She never allowed you to express yourself. Your dad would be appalled and disgusted by you if you showed that. My favorite is anger, displaced anger. Anger is a protective quality, especially for those that have one been molested, and two, especially for those that said something and nobody believed them. I had a conversation with someone that I love dearly just last night, and she was like, this person accused a family member, and she said, I didn't believe her. And unfortunately, I am a DV counselor, I'm certified. And unfortunately, there's no way I was going to let that ride over to make her feel comfortable. So I had to say something. Even though I don't know the situation, I don't know the intimacies of the situation, but I could not like the guilt that would ride with me if I didn't say. Sometimes you just have to believe the victim. That's been the biggest problem. Like, believe the victim. And then to add to that, she changed the story 3 times. She didn't quite change the story 3 times. You know, in her mind, it was one aspect of it. Maybe because she needed the graphic of it to be influenced. Maybe she needed to be graphic immediately to be believed, right? And then it got reduced. Still the same act, but not the same identification that was so graphic. And I said, it's still the same thing to me, though. And it was a little hard getting through to the person. And in the conversation, I just prayed to God. I was like, let me know that I'm doing the right thing by even having this conversation. Because this is exhausting. I'm a certified DV counselor. It's exhausting to not be believed. And of course, she carries all the classic symptoms, right? Anger, anxiety, hating her family. Like, it's all classic. And how do I explain to my friend? No, something happened. Something happened at one time in her childhood. Oh, and then the other thing was like, but she didn't say nothing until she was 50. Normal. Very, very normal. So, and this is what family secrets are all about. This is what we have to start teaching our children. We have to start teaching our children. One, you better not lie to me. But that has to be taught with consistency. And in order to teach our children to not lie, they cannot see us lie. Right? But lying is very natural to children. If you watch a baby, the baby could be less than 2 years old, and you're like, did you touch them toys? That baby will say no. In fact, one of the first words that the baby learns is no, because the baby's prepared to lie. It's an organic thing with children. If you really, really watch them, you're like, wait, do you know how to lie? To yourself. You don't say that to the child, but you're like, is that organic? And it is organic. So the first thing you have to do is measure your children in the form of, tell the truth. Did you touch that? No. Well, I was going to give you a cookie, but since you don't want to admit, meanwhile, you saw them touch it, right? You have to be clear about what you're saying to your child. Not that I know you touched it, even though you didn't see it. Like, you can't do that either, right? Because then it comes down to the conversation I had last night, where it was like, no, you don't know if anyone's lying. You don't know. You just don't know if anyone's lying. But let's start with believe the victim. And I'm telling you, this woman is suffering in a physical way now. In a physical way, this woman is suffering. And it's classic symbols of pure abuse that is sometimes it's not even the abuse. It's not being able to talk about it for 50 years. And then it's not being believed. I mean, there were things that went on in my family, and this is why I decided to have this conversation today. I was molested. But to be honest with you, I was taught to go to the molester. I went to my mom and I was like, I think I'm in trouble. I told her who it was. It was a cousin. My mom had the cousin living with us. She had just kicked my dad out because this would have never happened if my never would have happened if it was my dad. Years later, because my mom had mental illness, which I didn't know she had. Talk about family secrets, like, my God, people say something so I could be fully informed, but I was just 10. And my mom invited my cousin in, who was a kid. He was a kid himself. He was like 17 tops. But still a pedophile at 17. We now know that 17-year-olds are pedophiles. I'm walking around in my pajamas. I don't know what this boy saw. Oh, I can't even tell you the hell that I went through. And what I understood later is that I don't know how I got this information. I feel like it came from my mom years later, but I don't remember. What I understood later is that my mom valued male company. And since she had kicked my dad out, this 17-year-old was a replacement. And this is going to sound crazy, guys, but again, it's my life. So I'm allowed to tell my story. And she thought that if she sent me in, he wouldn't leave. Now, again, I'm 10. I don't have the knowledge to understand. But I went to my mom and I was like, I think I'm in trouble. And we were having a private conversation, just the two of us. And I remember she didn't look at me. And I remember she said, just, she said, just play with his balls. And I was like, oh, this is permission. At 10. At 10. Oh my God. Yeah. Needless to say, it might explain a lot of my anger around men and all that stuff. That is the correlation. And then I found out there was a lot of that going on in the family. It's a nightmare. And so my cousin and I were talking, and I had a beloved cousin. You can't even imagine the love I had for this particular cousin, because I watched her mother physically abuse her on many occasions. And then he told me stories I didn't even know, right? Mentally abused her, called her out her face. Like, imagine a mother calling you a bitch. Imagine that. I don't know if you've had that experience, but imagine. Many of us do have that experience. Like, your mom calls you a bitch. Like, what is that? And moms, if you're listening, like, I have to tell you, if you made some mistakes like that, clean that shit up. Go back to your daughter and don't have a big conversation. Just say, I'm sorry, because your daughter needs to hear that. Your son needs to hear when you called him out his face and it turned out he became what you had always described him to be. Nothing. Right? Your children, your grown children, they need help. They need forgiveness. They're feeling guilty. They're overweight. Sometimes they're overweight because you overcompensated, calling them out their face, and then turning right around and feeding them because that was your version of sorry. I mean, am I off target? Target anyone? It's never too late to say sorry. So the adult parents that are listening to me, you know, let's fix some of this, especially, we want to talk about abortions, and why that is we have this high rate of abortions. A lot of women don't want to bring a child into this world knowing what their past was like. They're not saying that to themselves. But it shows up at some point. All of a sudden you're pregnant and there's this weird feeling and you're not with somebody, right? And then you start remembering your childhood, and then if you're not putting two and two together, you're all over the place. And you're petrified to bring a child into this world. Why? Because your mom might call you a bitch, or call you trash, or call you easy. I don't know. Thank you, Ifashe. I'm only telling a story because my mom and her sister, they weren't good people. They just weren't good people. And her other daughter, I mean their other sister, the three of them, they weren't good people. I used to question God. I used to be like, because we choose our families, right? And I used to be like, there's no way I chose this. No way. There's no way I chose this family. And my mom used to foster children. That's a joke, right? She used to foster children. It's like the little old lady with the shoe, except that when you go into a shoe, it's a house of hell, right? And she used to foster children. That's how I got an adopted brother. She fell in love with my adopted brother. And we had so many foster children, which is a way to milk the system. I'm just being honest with you guys. She milked the system. Um, Catholic Charities gave her a house. It's hilarious. She was so good at manipulating. Oh, she would change records around, dates around if it didn't suit her narrative. It's hilarious. And then I was going to say something. You abused my brother. Oh, so she had so many foster children coming through that I figured I have to be adopted. There's no way. And I knew how much she lied at this point, right? I might have been 12 by this point. I knew this woman lied out her ass. And I was like, I just went up to her. Because by this time, I had already been abused. Um, the person was no longer living in the house. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Later on, I found out that she then abused him. It's a nightmare. I'm telling you, the things that went on, it was a complete nightmare. And so now I'm 12 and I'm feeling like a woman at 12. Like, you have no idea. Like, she brought me to that place of womanhood at 12. So now I'm ready to challenge her. So anything I come out my mouth, she was going to have to deal with. And so I went up to her and looked her dead in the eye, and I was like, please tell me I'm adopted. But by this time, she saw something in me. Any other time, she would have slapped the shit out of me. True story. She didn't this time. She was like, I hate that you would think something like that. And I was like, what's the tears for, woman? If you just say yes, I would pack my bags and run away. Because I would then realize this is the reason why I'm so abused. I don't belong here. Ugh, nightmare. Nightmare. Let me see what everybody is saying. Sin W. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Mama Mia. Hi, Sin W. Peace and blessings. Mama Mia says, yes, Tracy, when you read me out of nowhere, my mother popped in the conversation and her father, my grandfather. I was shocked. Yeah, the readings sometimes, people that pop in, oh, child, it's kind of amazing. Let me go back up a little bit, see what everybody is saying. Sin W says, my dad denied me when I was born. Then I turned out looking like him. Yeah. He abandoned me all his life. I'm still trying to heal from that trauma. Not having a father in my life tarnished me, and I looked for love in all the wrong places. Absolutely. Then I believed my mom hated my dad, and I looked like him. Oh, yeah, don't even try that. And she beat and whooped me every chance she could, and she made me work at 12. Not surprising. And took my checks. I went through that. Oh my God, Sin W. I took a real job when I was 15 years old. My mother cried about being poor because we weren't poor, right? We were middle class because my dad was an executive for the transit authority in New York City. She didn't work, but my grandmother was always a foster parent. So my mom mimicked my grandmother, which is on my dad's side. Well, my grandmother was an amazing foster mom. My mom didn't want to work, so she took on fostering as a job, and she wasn't good at it, right? And so at some point, my mom separates from my dad, and we wound up in Harlem. And all she did, to hear your mother cry and scream, and I didn't know then, Sin W, I didn't know then that that was her manipulation. She was crying to her children, which was me, my older brother, and my adopted brother, right? Crying to us because she was using us emotionally to vent some crazy shit. And it got to me so bad that I took a job with the United States Census Bureau at 15, making $100 a week, which I think was a lot at the time. And my mother took my checks every week to the point she would put me on punishment and tell me I can only go out to work. What? What? But I went to work because it was the only place I had peace and freedom, and people liked me at work. I'm 15, guys, trying to go to high school and working. So, yeah, Sin W, I got your 12. It is not surprising to me. And she took my checks, saying I had to pay to live with her. Oh my God. I understand that. Oh, child. Not cool. Not cool, Sin W. Talk about childhood trauma. I had it hard. And then Kira says, look at you guys. I went through the same, looking like my mom, living with my dad. Oh, Lord. How did you get to live with your dad? Was it better? Mama Mia is in shock. Oh my gosh. Oh, Priestess Iyalode Ifashe says, I'm sorry you went through that, Sin W. And Shay is giving Sin W and Kira love. Yeah, Sin W, good point. You did make it, right? And you made it through the trauma, and thankfully, we made it and protected through spirit. You know, I've learned not to hate my upbringing. It took a while. It took a while. And only in the past, maybe 5 years, I've forgiven my mom, you know, just in the 5 years. Upon her passing, things were just hard for me to deal with. And even in her passing, I remember being so solemn, tearless, like no tears coming out. And I didn't need the tears. I wasn't trying to have this moment with me or my siblings. And I kind of been that way up until about, I don't want to say 5 years ago, it might have been 3 years ago. Um, Never really telling my story to anyone, right? No one really knew, right? But trying to organize through spirit, trying to organize that I chose this family, trying to figure out why I would choose this family, why, and coming to a healthy conclusion of the experiences that I have had are shared experiences, and that one day this story would be told, but it didn't have to be told. I speak to women in trauma every day. Every day. I know the trauma when you're calling me. And it comes in a form of love, but it's so much deeper than that. So much deeper. Same thing for the men, right? The DNA that sits inside of men from 400 years of slavery. Like, that shit is real. And the fight or flight that they always have in them. And the impossibility of eradicating that through your veins unless you're educated, unless you get counseling, unless you understand the traumas that make you react the way that you're reacting, unless you understand it doesn't help when you don't have a good upbringing. The learning disabilities that come with family secrets, the physical illness in the adult life, the disturbing memories. And this is my favorite, the disassociation, which is what I think I carried for years. Trying to keep informed and trying to keep a healthy relationship, or constantly choosing the same relationships over and over, and constantly seeking that traumatic, you're seeking traumatic relationships, and you don't know it. You don't know peace. You don't know calm. You don't know quiet. Do you know how to be alone a whole weekend? Do you know how to like yourself in spite of such traumatic issues? Is there a way that we can begin to infuse that part of you that needs to be loved? And are you the only one that can do that? That's what I've discovered. I've discovered that, and I feel blessed to have gotten there, but I think the metaphysical, psychic experience was the one thing that helped me to heal in spite of. Also, I had a really good dad. I was, whew, and he came back in my life just in time. I was about to get married, and my mom said, we're going to have your brother walk down the aisle. And my sister had just gotten married, and my dad's brother walked her down the aisle. And I couldn't understand that. I was like, he's not dead. Like, why isn't Daddy walking you down the aisle? But I didn't say anything to her because she wasn't the nicest person either. I was just, 7 years younger. And I was like, well, I just don't get it. And when it was time for me to get married, my mom was like, and your brother can walk you down the aisle. And I just remembered not liking what my sister had done. And so I looked at my mom and I said, no, he won't. And she looked at me with that shocked look. And I was like, my dad will walk me down the aisle. I hadn't asked him yet, right? That man could have turned on me and been like, oh, y'all abandoned me. I'm that. I don't know what he would have said. So I went to go visit him at work. Surprise. Hey, what you doing here? Come in. I'm like, well, get married. Oh, okay. And I want you to walk me down the aisle. Man, he started crying. He was so happy. He told me he felt like he wished he could have walked my older sister down the aisle. In my mind, I'm going, oh, yeah, Dad, that wasn't going to happen. I didn't say that to him, but I was like, if you knew what we've gone through, there was no way that was going to happen. He didn't know any of these stories. I told him eventually, not right away, but eventually, and cried that time too. Oh, if I would have been there. Yeah, Dad, I know. Maybe you should have fought to be there. You're not innocent, Pop. You should have fought her. And you know what my dad said to me? When I told him everything that I've been through, right? I was like, it was hell, Dad. It was hell. I was like, she's crazy. And my dad was like, no, she really is crazy. And I was like, what? And that's when he told me that she used to, hear voices and all this stuff. And she wound up in what they used to call an estate asylum for 3 months. And the only way that she got out is because she had to keep telling them she doesn't hear the voices anymore. But she did hear the voices still. But she learned to act normal. But in her privacy of her home, she was not normal. I remember seeing my mom doing the dishes and having a full conversation with someone. That's why I tell everyone all the time, there is a fine line between the metaphysical world and crazy. I experienced it firsthand. No one was there to help my mom. And so they labeled her. And then I remember when I went to get into the psychic world, starting out with candle magic, and she came up to me and she said, Tracy, please don't. And I looked at her and I said, Mother, I am fine, meaning you're not going to do this. I'm fine, and I will be stepping in. And we never had another conversation about it ever again. Because I understood when somebody told me that she wasn't really crazy. She was truly seeing spirits and having full conversations with them. Can you imagine doing your homework and she's doing the dishes or cooking? Full conversations with spirit. Do you imagine what that does to a child? But it becomes normal in your household? And you don't find out the truth until you're like 25 and married? Oh my God. And then when my mother finally confessed to it, I had already heard it. She confessed to my husband. Oh my God. When I tell you, this is crazy. I never told my husband. You're just going to share that? No, I was never going to tell him. She tells him while I was sitting there, but she tells him. And I'm looking at her and I'm going, did you ever have this conversation with me? I suffered because of what you went through, because nobody believed you, because your mother was mean to you. Nightmare. What is that, Cynthia? What is that between siblings when you say, I believe my mother loved my sister more than me? We have different fathers. Oh, I could see that. She always treated my sister better. Yeah, I could see that too. How are you coming along, everyone? Let me see what Aquarius is saying. I'm not keeping up, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to go back and see where you guys are. Aquarius said, "Thank you, Priestess Effigy. My parents worked too much. I was a free range chicken at the age of 5." Oh, God. We need that closure from our parents so we can be the best parents to our kids. No, you don't. That is giving yourself an excuse to never be a good parent. That word closure doesn't exist. No one has to give you closure. No one has to give you an apology for you to be a better person. Think about what you just said. Untrue. Untrue. I never got sorry from my mother. I had my mother deny that she ever abused me. I sat her down and I was like, can we talk about how much? You have no idea. I don't even. Okay. She put a fist in my mouth. Her fist. I have witnesses. My younger brother, my older brother, because she never attacked them. She only attacked the girl, me. She couldn't adopt the adopted kid because the foster agency was always watching her, right? And so she couldn't touch him, the youngest brother. The older brother, true to her nature, she had my older brother, the security guard of the house. I'm telling you, crazy shit. And I had started dating. And so when I missed the mark by 10, 15 minutes, I'd walk in that house. She'd be waiting by the door. Why you late? I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. We were trying to train. We ran home, whatever. Boom, punch in the face. Taken to the ground. She put a fist in my mouth and then tried to pull something out. I don't know what she was trying to pull out, but tried to pull out half my cheeks. I never got an apology. Oh, my phone is acting up, guys. I'm so sorry. I never got an apology. I don't know if I ever wanted an apology. And I want you to not hold on to the word closure. I don't know where closure comes from or the need for closure. I wonder if that's a psychological based word that people used back in the day, right? I don't believe that anybody owes you closure. I believe that you have your experiences, and I believe you learn from your experiences. I believe because I was abused, I turned it around and make sure my son was not abused by me. You're not going to hurt your kids unless you want to hurt your kids. Abuse is a deliberate act. You actually have to think about it before you say a bad word or hit your child. You actually have to plan it out. Now, whether you plan it out for 10 minutes or you plan it out in a split second, but you have to think about what you're doing. It is not spontaneous when you abuse your child. So, in no way can you blame your mother for the lack of closure or she never gave me an apology. I'm never going to wait for anyone to apologize to me. I'm going to operate as best as I can the way I know how, but counseling helps you to understand the components to stop the abuse. I think without sharing what you've gone through can, can make you into that parent that your mother was to you. I think keeping it in, and that's when we're going back to PTSD and anxiety and eating disorders. I think when you take the time out to discuss, even that you believed your mom loved your sister better, like these are hurtful things. But operating as the better parent is the way we stop generational curses. This generational curse is the abuse that gets handed down. It's the family secrets that get handed down. And that's what needs to stop. And that's what you have to challenge today as an adult. You have to be like, too many secrets in this family. Who's daddy? Who is her daddy? Who's my daddy? That's the real challenge, not the closure. Did, did I get to a point, Kira? Were you able to hear me? I kind of get that a lot in relationships too, where people are like, I broke up with someone and, I never got closure. He doesn't owe you that. Some men come in just to traumatize you and then ghost you. And it triggers childhood stuff that you don't even know is triggering you. This is why I like counseling. But to want closure from someone, it's not a thing. You don't want closure. You want to meet up with that person again. You want to cry to that person. You want to tell the person how much they hurt you. Is it really that person you need to talk to? Is it your mama? Is it your daddy? See the connection? But if it's closure that you're looking for, it's closure that you're looking for from your past. You may never get that. So if you don't get it from your past and you wind up with very similar relationships the way you were raised, you're not going to get it in your future. Unless we get some mental health counseling to understand the difference. Am I making sense to anyone? As difficult as they might be, oh, here it is. Okay, thank you, sweetie. As difficult as they might be, it's important to speak out the secret because until we do, they keep us emotionally and mentally hostage. It's time for victims to release the guilt and shame. Guilt and shame that should be ours to hold. Oh, that was nice, Priestess Ifashe. I like that. That sounds like something that needs to go in a book right there. I love that. So, where do we go from here, right? How do we handle? There you go, musings. Yeah, you can't depend on others for your healing. Thank you, musings. Priestess Ifasheye says, some of us will never receive an apology or validation. It's up to us to find the healing for ourselves. Thank you, guys. So beautiful. AB says, sometimes you have to accept that you can't make a parent heal their issue. but focus on self because you have to put your health first. I think without support, but turning to spirituality. At first, correction. I was wondering about that. I was wondering, Priestess Ifasheye. I appreciate your correction. Correction, Ifasheye says, guilt and shame should not, capital letters, not be ours to hold. Thank you. Thank you. You know, about 2 years ago, I was going back to counseling. And it was just before the COVID. Oh, it was gratitude. Just before the COVID. I didn't know how much I needed counseling. And I went to counseling because my molester came back. And my sister, who I think is evil, who was there when I was being abused. Not that I'm blaming my siblings at all. I'm not blaming my siblings at all. But the abuse was in the house, right? Like, because my mother was beating me, the screams in the house were prevalent. And the other children were petrified to stop my mother. And the way I saw it, if I was getting the abuse, they weren't. So it was like, well, if she ain't bothering us, you know, which I can't understand that, but again, I can only tell you my experience. And so they were there hearing the screams. And I don't know if you can imagine a 10-year-old screaming for her life because her mother. Then, you don't understand. So my mother's beating the shit out of me daily because she is now blaming me because I got molested. It turned out to be the biggest family scandal. I'm 10 in any case. So I packaged it and went into spirituality and counseling and learned to be best. Learn to be best. I got divorced. Loved that period of my life. I realized my ex-husband to this day, there's no way I could have stayed married to him. And loved being independent, loved working on my spirituality. I had now become so important in other people's lives. And why, Kira? Because I realized that my experience is other people's experiences. And I realized through psychic readings, I may help. How? I don't know. The Spirit of God helps through psychic readings, right? And so I am loving myself now. I'm watching myself grow and be an amazing person. And I could see it. Like, I didn't need validation from my mother, right? None. I don't think I ever got it, you know? But I didn't need it. I liked myself. And I operated well. And I don't know. I just really turned my life into something that I loved. I loved me. And it was so good for years, for like 10, 20 years. It was so good. And then the year before COVID, but in order for my life to turn out so good, I did have to separate from my family. Like, I couldn't stay with these. They never grew out of their pain or their ugly or their traumas. No one did. My mother, her sisters, horrible, horrible sisters. Like that Cinderella story, that was my family. I wasn't Cinderella. I'm saying those three evil sisters, that was my family. It's just terrible women. Oh my God. And I was going to say something. Terrible, terrible family. So I had to separate from them to find me, you know. And I minimized conversations, you know. I barely went home, barely. And when I did go back home, I remembered why. And I was too quick to get back to California to the point where I was like, hey, Tracy, you know, we're all getting together and yada, yada, boom, boom, boom. And I'd be like, oh, it sounds like it's going to be an amazing time. I can't make it. Oh, have a good time, guys. I'd hang up that phone. I'd be like, nope, nope, nope. You don't keep revisiting trauma. You don't do it. But then again, I had to learn not to keep revisiting trauma with men, right? I kept meeting up with men that had their own damn traumas. And I would just go, nope, nope, I know what this is. And I don't invest in this anymore. Even though I kept meeting up with them, so maybe a part of me wasn't healed, but at least I was healed enough to know I can't, I can't do this. I cannot. So I tried, and you're not the one, and goodbye, right? But, you know, sometimes you have to have sex with them because you need to get that out. But a full on relationship, nope, nope. Sorry, guys. It's rubbing my eyes. My eyes are irritating me today. Still part of my allergies, whatever's going on here in the Caribbean or in America. And then the year before COVID, my molester comes back. My sister sends me a text message, and she mentions his name, but it's the same name of my adopted brother. And she goes, he wants to talk to you. And I was like, he has my number, and I just talked to him 3 days ago. And she goes, oh. But she said something else in the text. She mentioned his brother. She mentioned my molester's brother's name and my female cousin. And I was like, what the hell is this message? Sometimes when you're re-traumatized, you can't see well. The words become all jumbled. I just couldn't understand the text message. And I was like, what's happening, God? And I heard God say, calm down and look at the text message. Be still. And I looked at the text message again. And I was like, Terry, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? My molester? Are you telling me that my molester is trying to communicate with me? What kind of family members are... Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That's when I realized my sister hates me. She hates me. True and true. And this was her revenge on me. My God, people. So I got re-triggered. And I had to go back to counseling the year before COVID. So I could repackage. What the fuck was that? And I was like, Terry, I don't care if he's dying. The answer is no. Like, you don't get to say sorry to me. I have had a spiritual forgiveness ceremony for my life. And I think he was a victim too. And a pedophile. We don't revisit this. I don't want to hear your side of the story. I don't care anymore. I'm good. But needless to say, that made me stop talking to my sister. And so the year of COVID, I wrote everybody a letter, and I told every secret in the family. I mean, everything. I threw everybody under the bus. Everybody. I knew all the secrets, and I put it in writing, and I sent it to everyone. Felt really good. Yes, I did. I still got the letter. Yes, I did. And then I spoke to my cousin on Wednesday, and then he gave me more stuff I didn't know. I was like, no, you're re-triggering me. But I didn't tell him that because I was holding space for him because he's 30 something. And I wanted to make sure that he grows as an adult. And he remembered stories that happened to his mother, who's the nicest woman I've ever met in my life. She's my cousin. And I sat in that for her, for him. I sacrificed not telling him all my stories and allowing him to speak his truth and listening. That's another gift, everyone, especially in the metaphysical world. Listening is a gift. All right. Thank you, everyone. Hi, 215. Are you there? Okay. Stay on the line. Keep listening. All right? But thank you. Thank you for listening. Let me see what everybody is saying. I get here and then I lose it. Uh, Tay-bucks, yes. But a lot of times, if people are not exposed to healing, how do they know? Okay, Tay, there was a time in the 1600s where there was no such thing as healing. In 2022, you cannot tell me that there's not a space and a form of education from a friend, from a teacher, from a coworker, that somebody doesn't say to you, do you need counseling? That you have not seen it on TV. That your very insurance, on the back of everyone's insurance card, if you still get an insurance card, it'll say for mental health counseling, call this number. So, you're right. I, I didn't have access to healing at 10, but at 25 I did. And I sought it out because innately I knew there's got to be more than trauma. Like, I'm not living this way. I'm not living a traumatic experience. And somewhere I knew there has to be something different I can give myself. So if you want to understand that you absolutely can heal through counseling, Tay-bucks, you can heal through counseling. I promise you. It's the best gift you can give yourself. Priestess Ifasheye says, I understand, Tay-bucks. This is why it's important to have these conversations. Yes. I truly believe that when you are ready, mentally, emotionally, the universe will provide a vessel for your healing. Yes. Mama Mia says, you freed yourself just in asking that question. Thank you for sharing your story, says Aquarius, allowing me to air mine. Oh, I love that you aired yours. You and Sin W. I love it. Thank you. Tay-bucks. At Priestess, yes, I agree, but I believe if you don't recognize it, then what? No, you know, Tay, when the home you live in is not healthy. Do you understand? You know when the current home you live in is not healthy. Think about it. You know when you're having a current relationship and you're agitated or you're ready to argue or you're ready to fight, right? These are not healthy emotions. So, the first thing I think we might have to recognize is the willingness to understand that I might be unhealthy today. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with recognizing I may not be okay today. And what should I do when I'm not okay? I think I can get some counseling to figure out why I'm not okay. I can get some tools to learn how to respond when my household is making me agitated. But you know when you're not okay. These are feelings. It's not even energy. Like I don't even want to use a word like energy. It's a it's a true and accurate present presentation of you. I'm mad. Why? If you say I don't know, even that is a good answer. I don't know. Kids do that a lot. I'm mad. Why, sweetie? I don't know. When a kid says I don't know, or you might even say I don't know, now we've got to dissect that. When did you get angry? At what point? Did you trip over something? Did you think about something? And when you have to deal with why you're having these agitated feelings, trust and believe you lose your memory. Literally, you don't have memory of why you're angry. You don't know what triggers you. And that's what counseling teaches you. Well, let's figure out what triggered it. Now you know that that's a trigger. Well, coffee cake triggered it. Oh, that's interesting. Why coffee cake? I don't know. But I know we were in a coffee shop and I looked at coffee cake and I got upset. And then after some work, you might find out that your mother threw coffee cake at you when you were two. I'm kidding. I don't know. It's possible. But that's what counseling does. It starts to allow you to be calm enough, not look at the anger and feel the anger, because we have enough people in prison that don't know how to deal with their emotions, right? But it allows you enough time and space to start organizing your triggers and makes you focus on what those triggers are, identify the triggers, and then learn to have certain modality and practices when the triggers come up, right? And before you know it, you don't operate the same way. You can be a much better person. It could take years. It could take years. But having an education on what it is for you, and then to be validated that someone is hearing your pain, that's an amazing part of counseling. To have the freedom to say, I went through something. And it doesn't have to be childhood trauma. This could be relationship trauma too. I know a lot of people that had great childhood and wind up with the worst relationship that triggers them for a lifetime and they don't get counseling. It's anything that doesn't allow you to be and operate and be the best person that you could be in the calmest spirit that you can be. That's what counseling can do. And some people need meds. Anxiety is real, and there's different degrees of anxiety, and some meds can calm the nerves who then start working on the issues. Yeah. AB says, one thing I learned is you can't allow fear to control you or hold you back, to not allow yourself to get comfortable with fear. That's a good point. That's a good point. Hmm. I would kind of add to that, AB. You know, ignorance is a way of avoiding dealing with traumas, right? Well, I didn't know. I didn't know better. In 2022, you know better than to go to work and act the fool. So why do you do it at home? You know. You know exactly what you're doing. Nope. Nope. I had a girl the other day that told me that she got triggered by something. It was a legitimate trigger. The triggering was legitimate. How she reacted? Oh my God. Here's a funny thing she said. She said, I knew I would never see these people again. So I went off. That's deliberate. So because you're traumatized by something that your husband did, and everyone is stuck on a boat, by the way. So everyone's on a boat. And she went the fuck off, screaming at the top of her lungs, and she wouldn't stop. Everyone is stuck on this boat. And her only thought was, I'll never see these people again, so I don't care. Oh my God. And she said, I haven't been right since. Yeah. Because when you scream like that at the top of your lungs, the way you did it, you might have snapped. You might have brought the edge of mental illness in. So I had to tell her, I need you to get counseling. This is no longer a psychic reading. I need you to get counseling. And I could tell in her voice, which I said to her, I said, your voice is at a high octane level. That's not normal 9 o'clock at night. I said, I could tell you're not okay. And she didn't want to listen. She just wanted to keep talking. And I said, no, no. You're going to take the opportunity to listen to me. You're not paying me to go off like you did on your husband. I'm not him. You're going to respond better. You're going to start today because you're not okay. And I believe she had a little postpartum mixed up in there. And she was never treated for postpartum. So there was just a lot of things. And she's like, postpartum lasts this long? Untreated? Yes. Yes. So take your husband's insurance and give yourself permission to get some counseling. I told her it will help you. I need you to do that. I need you to take care of you better. I agree with you 100%, Tracy. I was speaking on not recognize what can you take to healing. I'm still confused. Tell me what you mean one more time. But I do feel like we're getting through to you, so that's the good part. Yeah, trauma doesn't always happen in childhood. Thank you, Musings. And sometimes we don't know that we've experienced a trauma. Oh my God, so true. So true. It's not until you begin to talk about something. You ever had that aha moment, which I hate that word because that's Oprah's word. But you ever had that moment where you're like, I think that was the moment everything changed. That was the moment. And it's a breakthrough. It's a breakthrough. You could be 35 and it could have happened when you were 30, whatever. And it's like, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm revisiting that. Because now that I know, bum, 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 I can change. Bum, bum, bum. Relationship, jobs, expectancy. I don't know what that means, Red Roses. Stop talking in one word sentences. Help me. I learned to respect my feelings as being true, even if family deny their dislike of me. Good girl, Margaret. I learned I love me, and it is not contingent on their reciprocity. Reciprocating. Yes. Oh, Margaret, when did you grow up? Yes. Yeah, Red Roses. I still don't know. You created 3 words. Put it in a sentence. Help me help you. What else is everybody saying? Yes, Mama Mia says, I thought I was normal for a long time. Come to find out, I'm not. I got trauma. That is the best, Mama Mia. Do you know how many people don't know that they're traumatized? Aren't most of your parents traumatized people? Think about your own family. Aren't most of them operating from a very ugly uh, presentation? At least in a house. And then they go to church and they act like they're the saints. And then when you tell your mama, hey, you know, you made some mistakes, they'll stop you from talking. We are not discussing this. We really aren't. Are you sure? No. Because they done changed and became Pollyanna in church. They don't want you to start telling people what a bad parent they were. They want to pretend till they die. That's why I don't trust a lot of church ladies either. I'm traumatized by church ladies. Mm. Mm. Okay, thank you. Thank you, AB. Agreed, Red Roses. A bad boss, friend, or partner can cause trauma. Hey, everybody. Yes, my family is traumatic and dramatic. Did you walk away from them, Brandy? Yes, they can. Yes, Priestess Ifashe is saying they are traumatizing too, meaning bad bosses, a friend. A friend can be the worst, especially a friend that knows the whole story. Oh my God, a friend can be the worst. And I know stories where the, you have a friend that knows your whole story, let's say about your husband, and then she turns around and uses the stories that you told her in private and then sleeps with your husband. Trauma. Yes, ma'am. Good, Brandy. Good. Ooh, save your soul. Good. Organize that and keep it consistent. It was the one thing I think that worked for me. You know, they couldn't keep re-traumatizing me. They couldn't keep making me their problem. This is my favorite. Oh, Tracy. That was my favorite. It was their song. Oh, Tracy. You're so dramatic. Like, damn, okay. Meanwhile, you all are drunks. I'm the dramatic one, but y'all are drunks. Can you even see the drama between the glasses? Drinking glasses, I mean. Hilarious. Red Roses. Margaret, so true. I always had to compartmentalize my emotions with simply, how come you can talk to Margaret in complete sentences, but not me? But everybody else figured it out. Priestess Aoife Shea figured it out. AB figured it out. Survival mode about parents living. I don't understand that. Too many years in tears. Refuse to take that pain to my kids. Bingo. 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 Don't carry it to your children. There's nothing better than watching your child grow healthy.
Battery low.
Oh, sorry, battery. There's nothing better than watching your child grow healthy. I mean, nothing is better. Nothing is better than seeing your child happy, different than the way you were raised. Oh, child. Mama Mia says, one of the reasons I left at 18. Okay. How are you managing to this day, Red Roses? Are you happy? Did you get counseling too? Mama Mia says, my sisters are always like, our parents were perfect. Did y'all grow up in the same household? No, they had issues, and now we got issues because of their issues. Time to break those cycles. I don't understand why children lie about parents. What is that? Is that like a community thing? Where if you lie that you grew up in a nice household, like, does it put you like with the middle class or something? I never understood why people would lie. I think if you had a hard fucking childhood, you should say it or don't say anything. I didn't say anything to anybody for years. My husband knew when I was married to him because he was in the middle of watching it. He used to blame them for breaking us up, but in hindsight, he did a good job of that by himself. Um, but beyond that, I don't even think my son even knew my family dynamic and how bad it was because I sent my son to his dad every weekend. So I didn't allow him to invest in my family because I knew how bad they were. And he was better off with his uh, father's family the whole weekend. He was better off. I knew it. To this day, I have no regret. I had him Monday through Friday, and Monday through Friday, I was busy working. He was in school. We didn't go around family. The minute the weekend hit, I sent him away. Friday at 6. Get your bags, get your coat, get out. Nope. I was not going to let him see how ugly my family was. And they had a habit of calling people names. And I wasn't going to let them call my son out his face. No, it's hard to raise a black boy. No, my family was not going to tear my son down. No. Oh, child. Once I left, says Red Roses, I never looked back. When I visited the new, I was different and stronger. Yeah. My siblings has elevated our late mother to sainthood. But the grandkids know the truth. Oh my God, that's still so much dysfunction here. All right, that's hilarious, Margaret. Oh, Sarah, look at you. The toxic trauma I dealt with when we were talking about having adult trauma came from my in laws. In laws can be a nightmare. After my reading with you, Tracy, you told me to get away from them, and so thankful that I was able to follow what you told me. Oh, Sarah, are you at peace? That's all that matters. Are you at peace? Good girl. I always worry about advice, but trust and believe. I don't give advice unless I check with spirit first. It's always authorized. And if I say something and it's from the soul of Tracy, the mind of Tracy, I will tell you that. I was like, this isn't spirit, this is me. But the psychic reading is from spirit. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Red Roses. I hope you have removed yourself from your mother in law's clutches. I hope you have. So, I actually was looking to end this with Kuan Yin, which is a spiritual deity from the Asian culture. And I have changed my mind. I've changed my mind. Um, there's many, many philosophies, mantras, modalities, music, learning to sit quiet, writing in journals that are very, very important to invest in. I am a big fan of investing in other cultures, but I'm also a big fan of re engaging with my Black culture. And so, because I'm just learning my Black culture, um, you're going to have to give me more time to tell you who to invest in, right? So I'm going to stick with mantras. Um, uh, I'm sorry, not mantras, frequencies, because it's very neutral and doesn't invade any one person's culture, doesn't take you away from yours, doesn't stop you from learning yours, and makes you invest in somebody else's. And that became the problem with me. And I had a conversation with Kuan Yin, and there was a little bit of confusion about who she is. So there was this weird dichotomy that she went through in her history. And I was like, that's a little confusing. So what was that all about? And I was decided, no, no. If they had to have some time to figure her out by whatever means was necessary in the Asian culture, I didn't want to start giving y'all a goddess that could lead to more confusion, right? Um, and so I decided to be careful for you, right? And so I'm really big on Black culture and Black deities and reinvesting in African deities. And it's just fascinating. And, I'm taking classes with Priestess Ifa Sheye. Um, and I'm going to stick to that being the new thing for me, right? I'm no longer interested in Greek gods, Roman gods, ancient Asian gods and goddesses. But let me tell you, so that I could grow spiritually, I've dived into every spiritual component and divination healthy. I did no black magic. I believe in spiritual elevation from everywhere. I read every book possible. I talked to every person to get spiritual education. I had so many people that helped me to grow and told me where to go and told me how to elevate and told me what books to read. And if you start looking for healing, right, Tay? Start looking for it. It will show up. People will show up. Books will show up. By the way, Tate, we're reading the book The Alchemist tomorrow. Come join us. Reading spiritual books are healing. Start with one book at a time and your appetite will be insatiable. And you can heal just from reading. Seriously. And so I was going to deal with Kuan Yin because I liked it when it showed up, I think, yesterday. And then I started just feeling uncomfortable. And I know when God is telling me, you don't have to do this anymore. You don't have to. Like, it's not for you anymore, Tracy. And so if it's not for you, you don't have to teach this and teach what I don't necessarily know. And when you know the history, it gets a little clouded as to how Kuan Yin came to be. Like, what permission did the humans form for her? She is the goddess of mercy and compassion and love, just so you know. But there's deities that have the same components. So I'm going to stay really neutral, and I'm going to offer that you check on YouTube and listen to frequencies. Me personally, I like 888. I like the gold coloring that comes with it. I will listen to frequency while I'm journaling. Sometimes I'm writing a story and the frequencies. Sometimes I just want to sit quiet and look at a candle burning. And I play the frequency and just stay inside my head and remember and invite peace and literally ask for happy. Ask God to show me happy in my cells because I may have forgotten what happy looks like and feels like. And I just want to feel happy because I know what anxious feels like. I know what anger feels like. Oh, child, when anger comes, don't even get near me. But happy, what does it mean to just like you? Like literally, just like me. I'm an average looking girl. But I think I'm so adorable. I think I'm funny. I think I'm kind. I think I'm generous. I mean, I know because I've worked on these things. I've asked God not to allow me to present ugly to the world because I began to realize I was showing people ugly and I was hurting people and I didn't care. And I know what that is because that's what was presented to me by my mom. It's just awful to see pain in people's eyes when you cut them down. I never wanted to see that again. So I spent years working on myself. My whole 30s was working on operating better and still making mistakes and yet operating better and making mistakes and then operating better until I got to the place where I'm very considerate with my words. I don't cut people down. I'm like, and spirit will be like, yeah, don't say it. I'd be like, okay, spirit. And I feel so much better when I hold my tongue. Oh. What book? Red Roses? I just ordered the book called Sacred Woman by Queen Afua. Oh. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Sarah goes, just listening to your videos is like therapy. Don't let it be your only form of therapy. You know, there's better. There's better. So take mine a little cheeky and then get more. Like it's like a salad bowl, right? No one person can heal. No one thing can heal. So put a lot of things in. I love real counseling. I love a good book. I love a good book. I love um, I love talking to people. Do you know that talking to people heals me? Yeah, that's what I've learned. Let me know how you like that book, Tay. Sin W says, welcome, Tay. Oh, you're a new subscriber from Lamar. Oh, hi. Tracy, thanks for letting us know it's okay to separate from family. Oh my God, please separate from these people. Thing is crazy. If you want to raise up your children, better than you've ever been risen from your family, separate. No guilt. No guilt. You come into the family reunion? No. No. They're making me work. Bold-faced lie to your family. You just work all the time. I know. You just work so much. I know. Just lie and stay home for the barbecue. Tell somebody to drive by and bring you some food. Drop off some food for me. All right? No, you have permission to create boundaries. Ladies and gentlemen, seek happiness and peace. Tinsun. Sin W says she does videos like this all the time. Just go back through the videos, you'll see. Yeah, you know what I've decided, Tay? Tracy After Dark is gonna move me spontaneously. And then the other day I did a video. Did you guys see the video on lemons and salt? Do that. You want to get rid of some energy? Do that. Look at the video on lemons and salt. And Red Roses, are you still with your mother-in-law? Whatever happened with that? I'm not getting the ending. I purchased some affirmation cards. Oh, that's a good one. I love affirmation cards. And sent them out to some of my sisters and gal pals. Aww. That's nice of you, Red Roses. I've been doing it and it feels so good. I'm going out of town. Yeah, bring them to work too. If you still work in the office, bring the affirmations to work and then tell the ladies, pick a card. Pick a card. Man, you might make their day. People love that kind of stuff. All right. Listen to some frequencies, people. Oh, and this is the other thing. You know what really helps everyone to begin the process of healing? It's a simple, simple thing. Happy thoughts. Think of something that makes you happy. And take 10 minutes and sit in that thought. You know what I do when I go to bed? When I lay down and go to bed, I think of sex. I really do. Puts me right to sleep. My favorite thing to do. Seriously. Oh, good, Tay. Look at you. Mamma mia. Oh, I divorced him. The mother-in-law has recently passed. Okay. Bless her soul. I'll say it for you. Bless her soul. No. Send me a link. Send me a link. That's a predicted it. I said that. That's a predict. Send me something. B. Oh my God. That's a whole predicted it. Changing the subject now. B goes, did you hear Brian Laundrie confessed to killing Gabby in his notebook? What? I told y'all he did it. I knew it. I knew it. Spirit never, ever lies. It's breaking news today. Oh my God. You know, something came through today and I didn't look at it. I saw something about Brian Laundrie, but I don't know where it is now. Send me a link, please. I need to know. It must have been earlier today. I wonder if it was around 3 o'clock. Because, no, I get Tuesday, Wednesday. I saw something and I ignored it because the Wade versus whatever, Roe versus Wade, was popping off more. Let me see if it was here. Details. Brad Pitt, Fox News. Damn it. BuzzFeed. I saw it and I ignored it. Huffington Post. Wasn't the Wall Street Journal. Certainly wasn't the Wall Street Journal. All right, send me something. I'm sure I can find it though. That damn notebook that they found. I knew it. I knew it. That damn notebook. They made such a big deal out of it. I knew something was in that thing. Oh, they kept that quiet. I blame the police for that. That's white taking care of white again. I don't like that. Mm-hmm. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Did I do that reading with Sky? Sky, are you on? Did I do that reading with Sky? I don't believe him, but it was an interesting read. You don't believe who? You have the gift. Thank you. Yes. Sin W, I do believe is alive. Yeah. I said that. Well, Sky said it. One of us said it. Mm-hmm. No, I say the damn notebook because I remember how significant it was when they said the notebook. Because I remember thinking about that movie. There's a movie called Notebook. And as they said, we found the notebook. And then his body was found away from the notebook or some weird shit. And I knew that notebook. I knew it. I knew it. Right. You and Sky, thank you. Thank you. We both felt like he was. I do feel like he's alive. There's a whole white cover up. I'm thirsty because the mother. I just had cheesecake. I just realized sugar makes you thirsty. The mother was in with the police department. That's why. Kira, who are you talking about? I don't believe him, but it was an interesting read. Who? You have the gift. I do. Thank you. The pages are on YouTube. They released all the pages. It's breaking news today. Somebody better send me something. Send me a link. Kira, you don't believe what Brian wrote? I don't get it. Why would you believe it? I don't want to get into it. It doesn't matter. You know what I care about, Kira? I care about being psychically right. I don't care about what Brian wrote either. But if he says he killed her and Spirit told me he killed her, I'm right. That's all I care about. I begin and end. I begin with Spirit, I end with Spirit. That's all that matters to me. Oh, see, Sin W, his whole family works at the police department. Yeah, that's why I know he's alive. Probably walking around like a. What was those guys used to be called? The skinheads? All right. All right. Somebody send me a link. I'm sure I can find it. Yeah, and the way they said they found him. Yeah, all of that was very suspect. They were all in on it. They passed over the area 3-4 times, and then on the 5th time, I think the mother found him or some bullshit. It was ridiculous. Whatever. Total cover up. Yeah, he's alive somewhere. Probably in Wyoming, so hopefully he got flushed out with that house that fell in the river. Probably in Yellowstone Park somewhere. He knows that area very good, so hopefully he got flushed out. Taken out anyway. Thank you, Tracy, for this episode. It was a great episode. Oh, thank you. Oh my goodness. You know, guys, I always pray that Spirit moves me. Always. If you understood the tiny bit of anxiety that comes to want to speak well and to speak to be heard. It's a little tiny bit of anxiety. And then every time it's like, oh, it's a good episode. And thank you, Sid W. All right, there's nothing wrong with closing this down early. It's on ICKEDMEL YouTube page. All right. You just screenshot that so I can go look it up. I'm not going to look it up tonight because I am going to bed and because I no longer traumatize myself. My sleep is very, very important. So I don't invest in social media traumas. That's what the daytime is for, when I've slept enough and I can handle this. So I will not be needing to be right tonight. You guys have validated
Gals,
I do not need to see um, anything tonight. I will check it out tomorrow. But it's 11 o'clock for me, so sleep. Oh, thank you. Oh, Ifashe, thank you. You know, Priestess Ifashe, it's almost like mothering. You never know if you're doing a good job. You know? So, thank you. You guys tell me I'm doing a good job, and I believe you. I trust you all. Thank you. Um, but I'm going to bed, and I want you all to practice the same thing. Happy thoughts. Samara, hi. Samantha, hi. Leo slumber is of utmost importance. Oh, yes. We love the bedroom. We love the bed. Yes. Yes. It has to be a sanctuary, my bed. Oh, thank you, Muses. She's giving me the clappy hands. Thank you. You guys. What are you going to do to go to sleep? Let's discuss that real quick. What calm place are you going to take yourself and create that boundary where no negativity gets to come in? Is it prayer? Is it listening to something comedy on the TV? Like something kind to your spirit? Can't wait for the next live. Well, it'll be tomorrow because we're reading The Alchemist tomorrow at 9 a.m. Tay. Asking for help is a gift I give myself and others. Yes. Oh, I love those affirmation cards. You know, Red Roses, I'm going to give you a project to do. Mama me, I think you told me that before. You journal. Good girl. Good job. I'm going to give you a job, Red Roses. I want you to start creating your own affirmations on little sticky notes. And then I want you to create your own affirmation cards. How's that? How's that? I bet you can do it. All right, guys. I love you all. You guys are healing to me. So it's funny how we can all bless each other. I listen to rain. I love that. I love the sound of rain. You should hear the sound of rain in the Caribbean. So soothing. I listen to you, Tracy, every night before bed. Said W, how can you listen to me when I have you cracking up? There's no way you can go to sleep. Rain, says Kira. Oh, rain is so beautiful. Let me tell you something. I could record the Caribbean rain and sell it. Oh, let me tell you something. It is soothing. Sometimes it rains 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh my God, just really soothes my soul. I love the sound of rain. And coming from California for 10 years, where we barely got rain, whew, Caribbean rain is like Florida rain. It is amazing. Because the rain moves. That's what I think is different. The rain moves. It doesn't just pour, it moves. And I think that's what I like about it. I don't know. Every night. Every night I put Cynthia to sleep. Well, thank you. I think. All right, everyone. Good night. I love you. I thank you because you helped me too. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night. Bye. Oh, wait. I don't know why I keep doing this last. Call me for your own personal readings. Why do I keep doing it last? And if you need to elaborate on anything, traumas of any kind, spirituality, if you want to, have some conversations about your spiritual growth, call me. Pink Lily Phil says she loves to journal. All right. Subscribe, like the channel because YouTube likes it. Share the channel. Don't be afraid to share. I like sharing. But if you want a reading for any reason, especially how do I grow my spirituality, allow me to help you with that. 213-458-7408. Let's talk about some childhood traumas, adult traumas, family secrets. And if I tell you to get counseling, I do want you to follow up. Thanks, and W. Have a healing night too. Oh, that's so sweet. Good night, everyone. Check out my candles, TraceyBrownlive.com. Go to shop. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys.